are you today, Mayor?
Doing fine, Joe. How are you?
A little sneaky snow going on out there this morning.
Yes, indeed. I was talking to one of my folks this morning, and best job in the world to be a weatherman. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You still get paid.
I was thinking the same thing. It was supposed to snow yesterday. We got nothing. It's not supposed to snow today, and here we go.
Yeah, and it's costly because you bring crews in preparation because you don't want to be caught short-handed, and rush hour would be everything icy. So it's tricky and it's costly. So when they screw up, it's aggravating.
That's true. Does the city still have its own weather service? I know you'd had a company.
We do. We actually use two weather services. Rob Gilman, who we've used for years.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him?
Yep.
And then we use a firm that Eddie Carroll works for.
Oh.
Eddie used to be the meteorologist on Channel 4 for a number of years.
Sure.
North Quincy kid.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we try to get all the information we can and then make the best decisions.
Yeah, it's not easy, and we're nowhere near done yet, that's for sure.
I remember February a few years ago.
Oh, my goodness, yes. It's not even.
I know. Let's not go there.
As you mentioned, February's here. I know that traditionally some administrative changes can happen within the first month of the year. Is that happening this year?
Yeah, we're working on that now. We've got, under the charter, it's generally the first Monday of February that reappointments happen, or 2-year successor is qualified. So, we're working on that stuff now. But generally speaking, it'll be most of the same players in the positions in the various departments.
Mm-hmm. Some changes at the head coaching position at Quincy High School developed over the past few days.
Yes, the superintendent informed me over the weekend. Coach Vernon was leaving us, and he was putting Principal Ford as interim for now because they do their workouts and things during the winters as well. Didn't want to lose any momentum there. So I believe the school itself is holding a meeting Thursday night to discuss next steps and so forth.
I see. Okay, so it's just an interim for Coach Ford at this moment?
That's what the superintendent informed me of. That's not how I read it in the Patriot Ledger, but that doesn't mean they are correct. I trust the superintendent on that. It is an interim. There is a process by which, for the most part, we follow anyway, so I would have been surprised had the superintendent bypassed the process completely, But usually there's a committee formed, and, parents of children have a voice, and then there's a process where people apply and decisions are made. So we'll see what happens, how it plays out. That's definitely the decision of the superintendent and the principal of a school under ed reform many years ago, Joe. The only hiring the school committee does now is the superintendent. We confirm that the assistant superintendent, and technically we hire the nurses. Why that's the case, I don't know. But at any rate, all that hiring was taken away from the school committee many years ago when the state passed ed reform. So, I've heard from some folks and told them to let their voices be heard to the superintendent and the principal.
Okay. All right. So there'll be a whole process, and the job will be posted, I assume, and they'll go.
I assume so as well. That's what usually.
When I first read it, I said, it's an awful lot of responsibility to be principal and head football coach.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
Still one athletic director, though. Is that right for both schools?
Yes, and he does have an assistant at each school.
Okay.
That helps with all the scheduling, and it seems to be working. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we got Kevin Mahoney. He does a nice job. And
yeah.
He's got someone at each school that is kind of the liaison and handles the all the detailed stuff with the scheduling and so forth, which can get tricky with the buses and all. So he's doing a decent job too. The superintendent is happy with that, the way that is going at the current time.
That's good. Speaking of buses, how's the bus driver situation? I know that there were a shortage not too long ago.
Yeah, we're getting by, but we could always use a couple of more, no question about it.
Yep.
But we're in decent shape. We're not in great shape. How's that?
Okay. Could be better, could be worse.
That's right.
Okay. Also, I understand Shelley Dean is leaving the city after 10 years, I think.
I believe it's 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes, she's moving on, and we thank her for her service over the years, raising the issues of the environment and energy challenges and some of the things municipalities face, and try to be more efficient and less of a carbon footprint for the city. And so I appreciate her service and wish her well.
Yeah. Will there be a successor named, or will that position be filled?
We're working on that now. Okay. We may do a little jiggering with the titles and responsibilities, and as this thing has evolved, over the years. The fact of the matter is, Joe, that everybody, it's pretty much ingrained now in all my departments and department heads. We look for energy saving everywhere we can. So it's not like 10 years ago when nobody was paying attention to that, and we needed somebody to really raise a little hell about it. But now it's especially when you're doing any kind of construction with vertical construction, engineering, architects, they have to do it now with all the architectural code changes and the laws and so forth. So it is different than it used to be. But we're trying to figure that out now. What the best approach would be serving the city going forward.
I know that's part of the discussion with the new Squantum School, right? To make it net zero school.
That's the goal. Yeah. We might be able to pull that off because we got some land around it, so we're able to do some special things with with the technology today. So that's the goal for sure.
Sure. Mayor, I know you're monitoring the recent development with Steward Healthcare and their financial crisis and how that might impact not only the state but the city. Now that Kearney Hospital is kind of the go-to for emergencies now in the city.
Well, actually, as I understand it, with most of our stuff goes to Milton.
Okay.
Milton BI. Some of it goes to South Shore Hospital. Make it some for Kearney. I think. Definitely some of the behavioral stuff has gone to Kearney.
Yeah.
And, of course, anything really serious, I know they go to Boston Medical for certain things, head injuries and things. So it does get moved around. I'm not overly concerned with that piece. I am not surprised with Stewart. We dealt with Stewart a number of years ago, and they were less than forthcoming. Quite frankly. I lost a lot of respect for the organization when we went through the closure in Quincy a number of years ago. Mm-hmm. They did not meet their commitments. We were misled, and quite frankly, my observation, I said it then, and I can see it happening now. I just couldn't understand their business model, being a for-profit in the medical business. It doesn't work, and I certainly don't want to be critical of the people that work at Stewart because there's a lot of dedicated doctors and nurses that work very hard. But the corporate side of things, I just think it was all bottom line, trying to extract profits out of something that it's very, very difficult to survive as a non-profit, no matter for-profit. So I just didn't understand the model on that from day one, Joe. So I'm not surprised. But it speaks to an issue that, the Obamacare was supposed to solve everything, and it hasn't. In fact, for whatever reason, I think the community hospitals have been hurt more by that legislation and the guidelines and procedures than before. You look at the number of community hospitals that are going down over the years. It's sad because those are the ones in the front line handling folks that, don't have anything or don't have insurance. So it's challenging times for sure. And I'm certainly not an expert on that, but I'm not surprised with Stewart failing.
Yeah, well, it really started to unravel last year with the shutdown of the Compass Medical Centers, including the big one in Quincy.
That's correct. Yep. Yeah.
Will Beth Israel's new center in Quincy Center help to fill that void, do you think?
Oh, I do. I really believe that that's going to be a great asset. It's not a 24-hour hospital, but there'll be a lot of medical procedures and doctors' offices and tests that people right now have to go out of the city for, that I think it's going to serve this community very, very well. And because, BI is a good name in the industry as well. So quality care, I think it's a huge step in filling a good part of that void.
Sure. Mayor,
the urgent care facilities have taken some pressure off as far as the need for an emergency room. So a lot, that was one of the challenges years ago with the cost of things. People go to emergency room for a cough, for anything, and you having urgent care facilities really takes a lot of the pressure off of the minor stuff, which I think has been good for healthcare. Again, not an expert there, but urgent care facility overhead is a lot cheaper than what an emergency room is.
Yeah, will that emergency clinic that BI has on the parking way close once the new center is open? Do you know?
I think it's probably all going to be combined into one facility, although they haven't indicated that yet.
I see. Okay. As you know, the City Council is now back in full session, and what are some of your priorities for the Council this session, Mayor?
Well, we certainly got to be going in with them not too long in the future with the annual city budget.
Yep.
That's a given. We're also working on updating our 5-year capital plan, so we'll be visiting the Council on that. As you know, over the years, Joe, we're a big city with a lot of needs, and the schools especially, but, also the firehouses, the libraries, and all the other facilities. We got more than 80 municipal buildings to maintain, and they need to be maintained. And, obviously we mentioned the new Squantum School, but just the day-to-day operation, maintenance, replacing some boilers and windows and roofs, and you name it. Things happen, things wear down, things break. So there's a lot of capital need. I know I'll be looking at a couple of special projects in the capital needs, such as North Quincy High Auditorium and Atlantic Auditorium. Both need major work. Atlantic Auditorium was dated much like the Broadmeadows School, but we did the Broadmeadows Auditorium over a couple of years ago because we lost that with some of the flooding that we had back in 2018. So that's been completely updated. So all the other middle schools are in pretty good shape, but Atlantic needs a lot of work. So we're focusing on those specific issues along with a number of updates and fixes needed across the city in various buildings. So we'll definitely be presenting something to the council in the near future on that.
Okay. Any price tag on that right now?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll also be looking at some open space and park issues as well. It's not just going to be the buildings, but it'll be across the board. The other thing we're cognizant of is we've talked a lot about Quincy 400, mm-hmm. We've been preparing for Quincy 400. We weren't waiting to do everything in the year. We're certainly going to have some great celebrations, but if you look at all the improvements we've made, Quincy 400 gave us a little bit of an impetus to do that. Where do we want to be? We had those discussions. What needs to be addressed, and I expect we'll have more influx of visitors and over next year and the year after with the 250th of the Revolution. So, getting our house in order, having everything in good shape, I think is important as well.
A lot going to be happening in a short period of time, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Always good to talk to you, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.